G'day, mates. Oh boy, it's a big one. Ali, you finally let's cut to the chase. You finally did it. Finally had your eureka moment. You talk us through it. Let's recap the weekend that was. Explain to everyone that what really went down.
Yeah, look, it's a big moment for me. Went in there with high expectations, a bit nervous. It's a big, you start to get these feelings inside you. But I'm glad I did it. Look, I cut my hair.
That's the news. All right, moving on. It is a
Big
new
weekend,
look. I
big
must
weekend.
say. How foolish of me to talk about Sorare when you're sporting a new haircut. What was the reason for the change? You've
Yeah,
left
we
me
will take
a
risks
sole
on the.
long-haired boy.
I cut my hair in a fit of emotional rage after opening my Super Rare award yesterday.
Oh my god! It can make you do silly things.
Just went crazy. Okay, no, look, that's all jokes aside. Big weekend, yeah. I guess I'll just talk everyone through it.
Gather round. Not you, non-bred.
Think for those people who haven't kind of followed what's been happening on Twitter, it's been a roller coaster to say the least. So rolling out what I was, pretty confident in this Super Rare team. So I'll get the team up. Actually, no, I'll just walk you through it. Pretty confident. Sho Sasaki, last game of the season, he was always going to roll out a GOAT performance. As always, smashed it. I think he scored a 90 on the Saturday, so hopes are up. Then we had, I think most teams played all at once. Oh, I had my keeper. So I bought this keeper a few weeks ago. I was like, yep, he's seems to score pretty well, good AA. Doesn't really concede that many goals. And then as soon as I bought him, he just started conceding, just shipping goals, like 3 or 4 goals every game. So he had me real nervous. After 50 minutes, they were 2-0 down. And it's that sweat, that sweat of all he's got to do is concede one more and my game week is over. And you just feel like when they go 2-0 down, it's inevitable that they're going to go 3-0 down. I don't know if I'm just like a complete sadist or what was it, sadomasochist for myself. Is that sadomasochism when you want to hurt yourself?
Somebody's drilling something up my fucking ass.
But I turned notifications for all decisive actions on. I didn't want to just get a ding and know that was my clean sheet gone. I wanted to hear all the dings, and I don't know if that makes me sick. I think it does. I think I have a sickness. So then every time the phone dinged, I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Jesus Christ!" So that was kind of terrifying. Quite a few dings actually, but luckily it was Excelsior fighting back to a 2-2 draw. Held on, didn't lose the 3. Managed to pull out like a respectable 53 points or something like that. So game week is still alive. And then, it was the classic, all my teams play overnight. I go to bed, get to sleep. The so rare part of my brain wakes me up at, 2 in the morning. Oh, just have a quick sneaky check, see how the boys are doing. Daniel Wass, 97. Forget about it. Go back to sleep, feeling pretty good, but, knowing that it can only go bad from here. Heung-min Son, my boy, up against Man City, loves a goal against Man City. Again, brain just knows. Kickoffs at 3:30 a.m. I'm up at 3:35. 3:35, check my phone, turn it on, Heung-min Son goal. That's the notification I get. And I'm like, ooh, this is spicy. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm up now. I'm excited. Let's watch the game. Turn the game on. Oh, and all I hear, literally the second I turn it on, I hear, Heung-min Son goes from hero to villain. And I'm like, what? Sure enough, slow-mo replay, right off Heung-min's groin area, straight into his own goal. And I'm like, you are kidding me. This is just my so rare experience in a bag. Is I can't have a nice thing for a second. So then go back to sleep. everything's wrong with the world again. Wake up and I think, look, there's a chance he might get another decisive. I mean, it's unlikely, but we'll see. So watching the Spurs Man City game, great game, by the way. Best $50 I ever spent paying that ref, by the way.
Lol.
But yeah, assist for Heung-min Son. So we're back in business. It's just Nicolas Otamendi that we've got to rely on. And as we know, Simon, I mean, Nicolas Otamendi, he doesn't disappoint. He's a solid boy. But nevertheless, I'm watching the Man City game, knowing that Heung-min Son's got a second decisive, knowing that my game week now rides on Otamendi to do Otamendi things. Now, they haven't been in the best form this year, Benfica, so I'm feeling a bit, even though I should know that Nicolas never lets us down, I was feeling a bit, not checking the scores, no notifications on. I didn't want to be riding every single second of that game, so I just left it alone. I'm like, I'm going to check the scores at full time. So I let it go. I controlled myself. I watched the rest of the Liverpool game, just waiting patiently. I'm like, okay, it must be full time by now. So I pull my phone out. He's on 83 points, but there's 4 minutes to go. So I'm like, oh God. It can only go wrong from here. There's 4 minutes is just so much time to score an own goal, commit a penalty, lose the clean sheet. It was a stressful 4 minutes. Luckily, he kept smashing it. And yeah, I was sitting in third for a while in All-Star Super Rare. The sweat was on. I mean, I don't know if this is one of the 10 commandments, but when you've got a sweat on, when you're sitting up high on the leaderboard and you're like, okay, I should be fine as long as this random guy doesn't score 100. That guy's going to score 100. You can bet your ass he's going to score 100. And I was just watching everyone below me, this was unlikely, but if Tadic was a DNP, I was in podium for sure. Of course, Tadic played, and I was like, that's okay. As long as Tadic doesn't score over 60, I'm fine. Sure enough, Tadic assist, Tadic goal, just smashing it. And then a bunch of other randoms absolutely smashed it. So I think I dropped down to 5th or 6th, Opta pending. Sweated out a few more results. Overnight, before the rewards, I kept checking just to make sure I hadn't dropped down. Stayed in 5th. No Opta fuckery. Everything seemed to be okay in the world. Everything's great, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, that story has the makings of every good weekend, right? I mean, it's the roller coaster. It's the goalie almost conceding 3. It's, the striker going from hero to villain. It comes down to your last player. And I must say, though, it must feel good being vindicated with the purchase of Nicolas Otamendi, because you got him for that exact reason of, if it comes down to him and he's the last player in your lineup, he's pretty reliable. You feel like you're in safe hands with Nicolas.
I want safety, yeah. I swapped out Kieran Trippier for Otamendi, and ironically, Trippier scored 100 this weekend, so I probably would have won the comp if I'd kept Trippier, but I needed that safety, and that's exactly right. That's why I had him in the gallery, is just, okay, if I need a 60 to win, he's going to deliver it, Yeah. Obviously, he went a bit above and beyond this week.
In an alternate reality, I actually had Claudio Bravo, and he was the last player.
No.
Oh,
that hurts me inside. Okay. So I go to sleep Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, reward opening. Now, I wake up to, just to do a brief segue, I wake up to our Twitter page ablaze. Notifications coming out the wazoo. What could this be, I reckon? So I checked the notifications. None other than Pedro Gasa giving us a shout out on Twitter. Turns out I won the competition to win his player signed cards.
Good on you, champ.
So pretty stoked with that. So this is first thing in the morning. I'm riding high. Everyone's congratulating me. Everyone's going, this is brilliant. Good on you. Pedro's there going, you're my best mate. I'm going, you're my best mate. And it's just this lovely, wholesome interaction. What could go wrong? I'm like, mate, what could go wrong this morning? I've won Pedro Gasa's player card. We're best mates. I'm just about to open a super rare reward for 5th coming fifth in Super Rare. I'm gonna, I think it's like $500 prize money plus a pretty good Super Rare. God, I love a goalkeeper. This stage just could not go wrong.
Then what happened?
Well, the first disappointment was I was like, the message that from Pedro was like, the winner of my giveaway is Sorare Down Under. Hope I can, keep saving goals for you, mate. I'm your best friend. And I'm like, yeah, I love you. I replied to him and everything. And then I see the winners of the other competition, the Joseph Martinez giveaway and the Cucho Hernandez giveaway, and they've got exactly the same message. I'm like, oh, okay, so this was not Pedro at all. This is some intern somewhere. I've just replied to some intern being like, I love you. You're my best friend. So that was the first. That should have been a good indicator of how the rest of the day was going to go. But then, look, you get nervous. All I wanted is a goalkeeper, Simon. I'm looking through, because goalkeepers, I mean, we know how shit it is to buy a goalkeeper. Like, I dropped $1,500 on that last goalkeeper only for him to then just, like, ship goals every single weekend. Like, you cannot win with buying a goalkeeper, and especially in Super Rare, you're buying someone that could just completely fuck up your game week, without warning. They could lose their job at any minute, and then all of a sudden you've just completely lost all your money. I lost my Nick Pope over the weekend as well. Just saved a ball and then just never got up again. It may never get up again in his life. So that's goalkeepers for you. So I'm like, just give me one for free. I don't want to buy one. Just give me one for free. And then sure enough, the little animation, it was like, Croatia. I'm like, Croatia has goalkeepers. Midfielder. Oh, that's not a goalkeeper. Oh. What was it? Do they have there's something else? Oh yeah, club. It was like, who's the club? Fucking
Salzburg.
Salzburg. And I was like, Austrian. Okay, maybe it's someone good. At first I thought it was maybe Emil Forsberg, but I don't even think he plays for Salzburg. Anyway, Salzburg, and then as soon as I saw this guy and I saw that he was 20, I just knew. I'm like, he's shit. He's got his shit. I mean, he's not shit. He's probably really good, but he's shit. I just knew it. I didn't even know the player, but as soon as I saw that 20, and it wasn't like, Jude Bellingham, I was like, I know what's going to happen next. I'm going to go to Sorare Data, and this is what's going to happen. He's not going to have an L15 over 45. That's for sure. I'm going to see a sea of orange. There's going to be orange everywhere on his score sheet. And then you know what else I'm going to see, Simon? I'm going to see that his 1 of 10 auction went for like 0.6, and that's the only reason he's been valued as a tier 2, because someone bought his 1 of 10. And sure enough, there's only been one purchase of him, sea of orange. I'm sure he's got all the talent in the world, but fuck, it's useless for me. So now I've basically not got a goalkeeper. I've got a player that I can't sell because he's about to go on break. He's about to hibernate for 3 months until next year. He doesn't score well. I can maybe put him in cap 240 this week. Maybe he can do something for me. And now I'm just back where I was, basically. And also I got opted down. Oh my God. Rant not over. I got opted down overnight from 5th to 6th, which is not that bad, except I lost $100 in prize money just for that. Guess who got opted down, Simon?
You?
Me, obviously, but which player?
The keeper.
Overnight, on Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, Sho Sasaki got opted down like 5 or 6 points. He played on Saturday. What?
Those bastards.
What the fuck? Don't opt to hit. Like, that is so cruel to be like, you think you're 5th? Okay, nah, fuck it.
Go yourself.
Anyway.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir, mate. I had a guy's decisive get rubbed out like 4 days later.
Yeah, I mean that's we you know the feeling.
So
and then sure enough, like, again, me, sadomasochist, went straight to Sorare Data to see what other people had won. Now, I will say that my reaction on Twitter may have been a bit premature because Sorare Data had actually got the rewards wrong. So I had said that the person below me got a keeper worth like 1 ETH. That was not true, apparently. The guy in fourth got a keeper. The guy in fifth, where I was, also got a keeper. Not great. Then I got, the best player of 2028. And then the guy
Croatian
below
wonder
me
kid.
got, I think, Kramaric, who, look, on the face of it, wonder kid versus Kramaric. But Kramaric is worth more, does actually produce. Super rare rewards. I think, funnily enough, I just spent like the day before trying to convince Parrot Press on Twitter. He was saying, he was put a screenshot up of the rewards in the super rare prize pool. He's like, should I be playing super rare? This looks terrible. And I was like, trust me, it's fine. You might get some shitty tier 4s, tier 5s, but you can sell them. You can use them in Cap 240. It's not so bad. And then I was like, wow, I really regret sticking up for super rare because I've just been absolutely diddled. Anyway, I've been talking for 15 minutes straight. I'm sorry. Simon,
There's so much to unpack. So much to unpack. But I don't want to. Let's stay on this for a little bit longer. I've got so many questions. Firstly, hot off the press. Congratulations on the Pedro Gasa comp.
Thank
a
you.
player signed card. Very exciting. Obviously, you've got very checkered history. Just for those playing along at home, he did in his shout out call out Sorare Down Under, the podcast, and say congratulations, Sorare Down Under. Technically, as an entity, Sorare Down Under is two of us. So does that mean that I get half of that player signed Pedro Gasa rare card?
Half! I take half his shit.
Oh, sorry. Sorare have just cancelled both of our accounts for multi-accounting, so awkward.
Well, I'm just picturing a bit of a McDonald's situation here. I want my piece of the pie.
Is that a McDonald's situation?
Well, didn't they didn't get their proper share?
Oh, you're talking about...
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about... All right, I see what you mean. I was trying to figure out what analogy you were using there. Yes, no, you're right. You are the original McDonald brothers, and I am Ray Kroc, coming in and stealing all your thunder. Look, I mean, in spirit, yes, that Pedro Gasa card is at least 20% yours. So, yeah.
But just given you did all the work, made all the video, owned the Pedro Gasa super rare.
But, hey, it wouldn't be so rare down under if it wasn't for you.
Ooh, true. Now,
but yeah, I am stoked on that. I'm gonna that card's not gonna leave my gallery forever. It's awesome.
Right. So yeah, you holding on to that forever?
Yeah. I'd feel too.
You'd feel dirty.
I'd feel too right. Yeah, I would feel dirty selling it.
In saying that, though, I don't think Pedro's going to notice, mate. I don't even think
he certainly won't. No, he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't care.
I just hope that he at least saw the video.
Yeah, I hope so too. Maybe.
I don't think he did, though.
He's too busy. He's too busy with his stock portfolio.
The real question is this. Was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Now, and for the reward situation, so when Show got opted down, so you went down from 5th, is that right, to 6th? Who did 5th win?
5th won Maury Dior, a goalkeeper from Clermont. So I didn't care where the keeper was from. I just wanted a keeper because I've still need to buy a keeper now, and I've been trying, and it's just it's dog shit.
So you're going to hold on to this midfielder?
I mean, I'm going to try and sell him. He's currently listed for sale because I do need a goalkeeper. I don't really have any use. The thought process has definitely gone through my head of like, I just know it'll be just my luck that next year this guy just absolutely is the next wonder kid. He's the new Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea buy him for $300 million. And all of a sudden I've sold him for, 0.4 ETH or whatever. So, but at the same time, my strategy on Sorare is to try and yield, through thresholds, through playing the competitions. And I can't use this guy till February or March, I think. So I don't know. I'm torn. I could use that ETH to then get myself a keeper because at the moment I'm just got one keeper rolling. I'm waiting for Mohamed Sengiza to show any sign of life. I think the man might be dead. I think he might be dead.
What happened to him?
I search his name in Twitter every now and then, and it's just like, people going, "Is he Mohamed Sengiza? Is he alive?" And there's just no update from any club, no training pictures, no. Yeah, I don't know. The Turks operate in darkness.
That is the problem with buying Turkish players, buying players from random leagues is, you've been banking on their Sorare scores, but they're very likely to just go MIA and you'll never hear from them again.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember Junior Pierce?
I remember Junior Pierce very well.
Is he still playing football? Or is he working in his local Coles?
I found him. He's playing in Romania.
Oh, is he playing with Valentin?
When Romanian League.
Yeah. Finally get some goalkeeper utility.
If you're not going to give us the A-League, at least give us the Romanian League.
Yeah. I'll get my Kojikaru back. That's a game changer.
I think he's in Poland.
Oh, he is Romanian, though.
Mm.
Yeah. So he's just gone forever.
He's just dead, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's... What baffles me about the reward system as it currently stands is I get that with Super Airs it's hard to value because I think in the list of players there was a guy who came 13th won a Lewis Ferguson whose last sale was 1.3 ETH. So in the list of valuations on Suradata it's he's sitting there down at 13th at 1.3, but he's not really worth that. The valuation system they have is all wrong, I think, because the best way I think to value them is to look at the rare price. And my guy's valued at 0.06, which is by far the lowest on any of the top 10 players on that list.
Whinge, fucking whinge.
Because has no utility. You can 0.06 is kind of what you would expect to pay to take a punt on a potential future talent. But that's not really fair to someone who's come fifth or sixth in the competition. Now, just to throw that out even further, I think the guy who came 37th, won a tier 4, picked up Miguel Sam Roman, who's a keeper, a starting goalkeeper. I think he might even be under 23. He picked up a starting under 23 goalkeeper because his valuation is 0 because he hadn't been minted yet. So they were oh, this guy is just a young backup keeper. That's what their algorithm picked up. So they're yeah, we'll just give you a backup keeper. That's a good tier 4. His rare's worth 0.32. His rare is worth more than the super rare award that I won. And it's now I can't complain because I did win a keeper as a tier 5 not that long ago. So maybe this is karma biting me in the ass. Not a very good keeper, but a starting keeper nonetheless. And I was baffled by that. So I obviously won in that system. That system rewarded me at that point, but the system is broken. It shouldn't. There's something that needs to change.
I think I said to you earlier in the week, it's almost as though Sorare have created their own reward wheel. Instead of the lunch wheel, it's just a reward wheel, and they just put all the names on a list and they spin that bad boy, and that's how they give it out.
Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe Nicholas is reward wheel, and they just.
It's the only thing that gets them up and about for a Monday morning. They know that they can come in, spin the reward wheel.
Mythological hero Achilles.
We love a wheel. We love a good wheel. Speaking of wheels, when are we getting this sloppy steak? People want the footage.
The steak has been purchased. Can do it as early as today if you'd like. What was that, sorry? No sloppy steaks. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, not a piece of shit, so it's all good. Thank you. Thanks. Let's slum up, boys.
You on the baby, make up my throat. You face in the mirror. It's a dangerous night.
Yeah,
fantastic. Great. Can't wait. With the rewards though, I feel like we've been somewhat okay at not being too negative and nitpicky about rewards, because I know some people that's most of the content they make is just what's going on with rewards, but just something has to happen, right? Because the reward you got, I reckon, was a great reward 2.5 years ago, back when Sorare was booming, a
Mm.
young talent in a somewhat good league, that was golden. And those guys, even without the scores to back them, their prices were going wild. That no longer works now. And I feel like it's as though Sorare hasn't changed their algorithm with the times. They're still operating as if it was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. I think John Nellis's most recent podcast was with Harry Trades talking about like under 23s and like, has it changed? You know, under 23s used to be just hype boys. It was a good competition to play because even your tier 3s and tier 4s, you know, had potential and they were worth something. And I think Sorare is like places a lot of value on that under 23 tag, whereas other people don't really anymore because it's not that massive boom season. People are just focusing on trying to yield and trying to play. So people are focusing on utility more so than they ever have. They're not necessarily thinking about like, oh, you know, it goes back to what we spoke about a couple of episodes ago about like trying to, you know, Sorare used to be this thing where you would invest in players and you'd be like, this player's injured right now, goodbye low, you know, and then when he comes back, he will be worth more. It was just money coming out of everywhere. Now, no one can do that with any confidence. You might buy a keeper who's coming back from an injury and you're like, I'll get him for 1.2. That's a bargain. He'll be 0.7 when he comes back. Who knows what the prices are going to be doing when you get back. So people are just focusing on the here and now, trying to win, which is probably why it's more competitive than ever. So I think people don't value that under 23 tag like they used to. And obviously Sorare is still living in that time.
I mean, people have done this to death, but is there an alternate way that you'd like to see rewards?
I think it's super simple for super rares. Like, they do it with rares, and they do it with rares because the rare market is a very good indicator of value. And they just put out a Medium post saying they're going to like start putting DNPs and injured players back in the prize pool, which I think is great. If you could just go off their rare value, because like a Thibaut Courtois, made a mess of that. Thibaut Courtois is injured right now, injured for quite some time. His value is still, if you won a Thibaut Courtois, you'd be a bit disappointed because you're like, oh, I can't use it, but you'd be like, I'm happy with this because he is worth something. And the reason you know he's worth something is because his rare value has only just got dipped down a little bit. So I think with Super Rares, it's just like, what is their most recent rare sale? And then put them in order of that. Like, because Super Rare sales are so infrequent, you cannot look at a card and go, this is worth 2 ETH, just because someone bought it for 2 ETH 7 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, and also like, you know, with the collection bonus, people are paying a little bit more on auction for one of 10s. So, like, if there's only been one card auctioned and that's the only price, that's not necessarily what it's worth. But I can guarantee you there's been quite a few sales of the guy I won in rare. Just use that as a guide. It just seems so simple to me. But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like rewards have been an issue right from the get-go. I mean, we've always said that you can never be happy, you know, no matter what you get. I remember you won a goalkeeper. You won George Long from Millwall. And I remember for the first time you were like, I've done it. I've won Sorare. I've won a starting goalkeeper super rare. But then lo and behold, you know, you watch one game, you check the Twitter comments. He's the most hated man in England.
Yeah.
Like, you can never, Sorare, you can never fully be happy. You can never fully be satisfied. And I think that comes back to your weekend. I mean, you had the roller coaster. You had the most typical Sorare experience where it was all on the line. It came down to the last player and he got you over the line. How often do we see, though, like, you've finally done it. You've done the thing that you've been trying to do in Super Rare. And then the reward, because of the reward, you've still got a sour taste in your mouth.
Now, yeah, I mean, I'm not one to like, I usually don't complain about my rewards because usually I just go, well, I'll just sell that card and buy who I want to buy, you know? Or if they're, you know, Super Rares does change the equation because they're so illiquid. You cannot just put them on the market and have them bought, you know? Whereas with rares, you can just be like, look, I'll put it 10% below floor. Someone will buy it straight away, and then I can go and buy the card I want, you know? So I think in that respect, like, I've never had too much issue. Like, it's obviously disappointing when you get someone you don't really like, but you can just move on. But with super rares, I have a similar attitude to super rares. I'm like, as long as I can use it, I'm fine, because my whole strategy has been like prioritize 240. That hasn't been going very well the last month. Prioritize 240, have some good super rares that I can play so I can win cards to use in 240. Obviously, when you finish in the top 10, you want something a bit better than that. But usually I'm not too fussed about who I get. But this one stung because it was, there's no utility, very hard to sell, and his value is all tied up in what he might be like in 3 years' time.
I feel like there's a massive drop off from the top 5 between probably the most dangerous position to find yourself in is like 6th to 15th, because I feel like that's the territory where you're getting these like could be guys. I mean, all of my best finishes have all been, barring Kojakeru, like could be guys, and like I've never ever used them. I don't know. Yeah, I totally hear your point. Like, you finally do the thing in Sorare that everyone's trying to do and win, and it's so hard to win. You just want to at least be able to use the guy that you win, even if it's not the most amazing or flashy reward ever. At least I want to know I can still put him in a lineup. Like,
they've got to be usable. That, like, I think if you're going to put under 23s in there that have potential, keep them in the under 23 division reward pool, because those people know what they're getting into. Like, going back to you finished 23rd or something, and you won Conceição from, he was at Ajax at the time, now he's at Porto. Just like, because you can't, my whole thing of like, if you had gotten, let's say you got like, I don't know, who's a good comparison? I'm really blanking here.
Messi.
Yeah, Messi. Let's say you got like Julian Gressel. You might be like, well, it doesn't really fit my strategy, but I can sell Julian Gressel and I can go and get the player I want. Conceição is hard to sell. Like, you couldn't sell him. It took you a long time to sell him because no one wants to buy a player that has no utility. Like, he was riding the bench for Ajax. He might get like 8 minutes here or there. Anyone with half a Sorare brain looks at that and goes, I don't want that, because people want to win. There might be some people who are like stashing them, but those people are playing under 23s. So give them to the under 23 people. It was cruel what they kind of did to you in giving you that guy, because it's like, what can you do with it? You couldn't use it. You couldn't sell it. Pointless. It was a tier 2 purely based on the fact that he was an under 23 whiz kid, you know? So,
yeah. And especially for smaller galleries, when you do win, you want to get some bang for your buck, because it's all right if you're a massive gallery and you get a wonder kid here and there, like, it's annoying, but you can put up with it. Like, your gallery is not going to fall apart because of that. But if you're a smaller gallery and you finally get the win, you need that to reboost and boost back up your gallery. Like, getting a guy that's completely worthless, it just continues that trend of losing, I guess.
And I mean, I will say, like, not to get too negative or get too kind of whingy, I did win some ETH as well, and the fact that when they introduced ETH for like places, you know, down to like 100 in All-Star Rare, like, you know, you won a good chunk of ETH as well when you finished top 20 or whatever I think it was, you know. So, and when you won Kajikera, I think you won some ETH too. That really helped. I know there's a lot of people out there that campaign for like ETH only prizes, and I do kind of get that. But then I think they still need to reward cards, and I do like winning cards. It is exciting, you know. If it was just ETH every time, I don't think I'd be as stoked. But look, I think. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining too much or whinging, but it does raise an interesting topic in terms of just like the Sorare enjoyment factor. Now, that did bum me out yesterday, winning that reward. It really took the wind out of the sails, for all the reasons we've just gone through at length. But I think it's a good conversation to have, because you mentioned in our chat recently that you're feeling a bit disillusioned. Do you want to elaborate?
Before I expand, answer me this: would you prefer the second division keeper or the card that you won?
Oh, second division keeper all day long. That's one good thing about, And I mean, looking through that prize pool, there was a lot of keepers in there. I was like, I cannot miss here. I'm getting a keeper for sure. Anyway,
shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
I think it's not been a recent thing, to be honest. It's been quite a while, I think, where I haven't fully felt as connected to the platform. Obviously, I've touched on it in previous episodes in the past. Obviously, selling the rares, going into limiteds, trying to spark back up some kind of enjoyment. It's come a long way from where I was maybe year and a half, 2 years ago, where like I was spending every minute of every day on Sorare data, scouting, buying, checking out scores, like doing all the things that I think, you still do. To be honest, like that whole side of it probably hasn't been grabbing my attention or having found as much enjoyment in that over a period of time.
Baby, I love you. What have you done for me lately?
Okay.
Definitely doesn't help, I think, like some of the things that we've talked about. Not to be like all negative in that, but yeah, definitely makes it a little bit harder to get behind.
Okay, well, it's interesting. I mean, first of all, I think like it is totally fine to just be over it. It is a game. It's a hobby. Like I have the ups and downs, and sometimes Sorare makes me feel shitty. But I move on because I really enjoy everything about it. I enjoy the community. I enjoy scouting. I enjoy the sweat as much as I hate the sweat. I enjoy putting lineups in. Like, it's a hobby that I really enjoy. But as with any hobby or game, like I used to play Age of Empires on my computer when I was a kid. I used to love it. I used to play for hours. I used to skip meals. I'd be playing Age of Empires all day, every day. I loved it. And then one day I was just like, I just never played it again. So that's okay. So I know we're on a Sorare podcast right now talking about Sorare, and it would be weird for you to be like, I'm done. But it is also okay to be like, I'm just not enjoying it anymore. So I will say that. But just to unpack it, just to psychoanalyze you a little bit.
Stupid. What are you talking about?
Just to pop psychology here. So you sold all your rares because I think you could probably say that the sweat was too stressful for you. You didn't like the fact that you were a bit too financially invested.
Bleeding money.
Values were going down. You weren't winning. So it's just like, and that's fair. You moved to limiteds for fun. And you were saying for a couple of weeks, like, I'm enjoying it. It's great. I'm having fun playing my boys. And then you joined the hardest competition on the platform. You haven't won anything, which is probably, some people could say, well, yeah, you joined the hardest competition on the platform.
I won tier 2.
You won a tier 2. There you go. You were loving it a couple of weeks ago. You had your Liverpool boys and you were watching games, and that you said, like, I'm enjoying watching the games. And then Allison got injured, and you were like, all right, I'm going to buy a Man City stack. So I think what I want to try and get to here is, like, do you think maybe that the fact that you don't have that investment, that you're just playing for fun, do you think that has taken the meaning away from it? Because put it this way, if I was to just go into limiteds, I would probably be in the same boat. I'd be like, I'm done with it. I think I would lose interest pretty quickly because I need something on the line for it to be exciting for me. And second point, do you think you should be maybe just focusing on getting the players that you really love and watch and forget about winning?
Yeah. So, but I take you back to my rare days. For a fair while there, I had my rare boys, but like, in terms of scouting or looking or for new players to pivot and make new strategy changes, even with the financial investment there, like, did I ever do that? Like, I didn't have the interest in doing that, even when the money was on the line. So I don't think it's necessarily a case of because I went into limiteds now, the care factor's gone.
Okay.
I was enjoying my limiteds when I could roll out my Liverpool stack each week, but as soon as I have to go and buy someone and trade and sell, there's no, like, I don't find enjoyment in that at all.
Okay.
And it's like, on the flip side, when I was enjoying Sorare, I love that. I love going down the Sorare data rankings, scouting different players, picking up new guys, putting them into a lineup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a case of you never liked that and now you're just over it. You did like that, but you've lost that passion for it.
Yeah. And then when I sold the rares, it was because it got to a point where like I was like, well, I can't justify my financial investment when I don't really have any interest in doing the things that make you win on Sorare. You can't, as we know, you can't just roll out the same team every week and expect that you're gonna, crush it. You've got to constantly change. You've got to pivot. Players get injured. You got to make strategical changes. And I didn't have an interest in doing that anymore.
Yeah, I did notice that you're kind of like when Allison went down, you didn't seem like, okay, we've got to like sort this out. I mean, you did go and buy some players, but it seemed very much like, I guess I'll just go and buy some guys. Okay, well, do you think there's other elements of Sorare that could get you reignited with it, whether it's collections or, just having a full Liverpool stack and just, again, taking the winning out of it and just be like, I get a Liverpool collection, I watch them every week. If they do well and I win something, awesome. If they don't, it doesn't bother me. Like, do you think there's any avenue of Sorare that you could find enjoyable, or do you think you're just burnt out and maybe just need a break?
Maybe the Liverpool, like full Liverpool stack, but I to be honest, I don't have a massive want or need for collection. Like, it doesn't really excite me all that much.
Okay. What about do you think maybe if there was a bit more of a, do you think maybe Cap 240 Rare could be something where you just, again, like going back to what Orange Flower was talking about last week, just trying to beat Sorare? Or do you really just think you're just...
So this is like, that is a great point. And I said last week, 240 is absolutely like what I should be doing. Like, it takes away that need to hit lots and lots of points. You can just beat Sorare and get that little mini win. But I just can't be... I'm just not interested in scouting or picking up players and then having to fit players and buy new players to fit them under a cap. I don't know. I feel like, it's not, what do they say when you break up with someone? It's not you, it's me. It's not you, Sorare, it's me.
I'm sorry, but we have to break up.
No.
That probably just doesn't interest me as much. I had a point that I was going to make. What was I going to say? Oh, and I think, you've always been very optimistic about the platform and where it's going and all that.
Yep.
I reckon brutally honest, God, we've had some good times on Sorare and it's been a big part, and I'll always love it for that. But I do reckon I've probably lost a little bit of faith in where the platform's going and recommending it to friends.
Okay.
Back in the day, it was all I could talk about. My friends were so sick of me going on about this stupid NFT based soccer platform. Whereas at the moment, I can't recommend it to my friends because I truly don't believe that you can come on and win or enjoy it without spending lots and lots of money.
Interesting. Okay. So it's the winning side. You think it's too competitive and that you would be telling people to join up to something that they're never going to win anything in.
I just think for my position, because you've also got to remember, I want to preface this by the fact that I'm 22.
I am a big boy.
I don't have funds and funds and funds of, 30 years of being in the workforce behind me to fund this experience.
I remember when I joined the mines at 2, 30 years ago, it was a tough grind in the mines, but it's all worth it now. I've got bags of cash.
You know what I mean.
Start early, that's what they say.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
I can't just put a lot of money, and I don't know.
No, I get it.
I do think that without, even in limiteds, you're gonna have to put up a good couple of $100. You could make the argument that you could put not a whole heap of money and play Cap 240. That is a avenue. Definitely. But in terms of what makes Sorare great and why you like it, you like winning rewards, you like challenging for podiums. That's really what the hook is with Sorare. I don't think Cap 240 is going to excite you all that much if all you're focusing on is 240.
Yeah.
I personally don't think I can go to a friend and be like, you should join Sorare because I just feel like how hostile it is in terms of players going down, player loses form, and even if, especially if you're in limiteds, the price can halve in the space of a week.
Yeah.
Whereas, do you think that you can still recommend Sorare to friends?
I think I have always said that the future for Sorare for people like me is the super rare division, unique division. Rares is becoming it's less and less. But if there's enough growth, maybe rares will be there. That side of Sorare is for the people who have cash and want to yield. And I think that fantastic. I don't know if you've listened to that So Rare After Dark episode last week with Scosmo and Black and Jimmer. It's incredible episode. Basically, it takes place in a McDonald's car park, and they're like ordering McDonald's through the drive-thru and talking about Sorare. It's amazing. Scosmo makes a very good point of I think there's two separate camps. There's people who just want to play for a bit of fun, and I think that is more and more accessible. Like with Rivals coming out, like people can you can buy a couple of limited cards for $5, play Cap 240, play Rivals, and that's fun. But the people who Sorare should be for really is the people who want to and that's why it worked out so well with the crypto people. It's because crypto people are hungry for gains and putting money in and investing and taking risks. And that's what Sorare kind of, for me, is about, is trying to yield, which is why I made the move into super rares. And Scosmo makes the point, by putting limiteds into the platform, they killed Sorare as a premium product. You didn't play Sorare unless you had money. You bought in barely and you had the worst players on the platform, and that was still costing you a lot of money because it was a thing that people who had money could come and play, and they could high roll, and the rewards were worth it, and it was all this money going around. And yes, that was part of the fact there was a crypto bull market, and now we're in a crypto bear market, and just a bear market in general. And it has certainly lost that element of which I think is, I think it's in a weird place economically, Sorare. And I think for someone like you, if you're not having fun, then financially it's a bad investment at your level.
Yeah, and I've lost a lot of money on Sorare, but I've always balanced that with the fact that, look, lost a lot of money, but it's fun. I enjoy it. I love the community. We've had a lot of good times on Sorare, but I just, coming up onto 3 years now playing, I definitely, and have you seen or felt a drop off from where because I, loving it to the point of obsessed with it, like a lot of people were. I feel like, and I hate to say it, if it probably wasn't for the podcast, I would have been gone a long time ago.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
If it wasn't for you, I definitely would have been gone a long time ago.
I'm holding you here against your will.
Hey, blink twice if you're in danger.
Whoa, guys.
I definitely. We've talked about it a lot. Me watching you kind of struggle and you went through that phase of just being so close, and it was getting more competitive, and you were just the worst luck on the platform. And I knew it was a ticking time bomb of he's going to lose enjoyment very quickly if this kind of thing keeps happening. And then you finally had a win, and then your reward was shit, and you got Johnny Russell's decisive taken off. We did a bit of a review of your career when you sold your rare gallery, and it is a tale of woe. And I knew that because I know what it feels like when you're in a bad patch. You do start to lose enjoyment. You're like, why the fuck am I doing this? Spending all this money and nothing's happening, So you really do have to have a love for the game of it. And I'm still involved in, I still really enjoy that element of it, probably because I still have quite a lot on the line. I can win $200 a week if I do well, if I strategize well and play thresholds. I could potentially win super rares that are worth money in theory. Whereas I think now you've taken out the financial side of it. So now it's purely enjoyment. And if you're not winning, I can see that the enjoyment wouldn't be there. So,
yeah, I feel like it's easy to say me moving to limited is shooting myself in the foot, because once you take out the financial element, it was probably going to go down that path, unless I was like, playing 240, making the most of the fact that the limited market's quite liquid and you can buy players and sell players. But I would say that, like, I moved to limited so I could stay involved and keep some sort of skin in the game. But at the end of the day, like, I couldn't justify the financial commitment of rares anymore. Like, that was just where I was at personally.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think we'll see what your next steps are. Again, I don't think you need to feel like you have to just keep playing Sorare just because, we have a podcast about it. We can work our way around that. Maybe you just need a bit of a break from it. I don't know. But I'd be interested to hear, because I know that there is a bit of negativity in the kind of Sorare space at the moment, and it always kind of ebbs and flows. A new announcement comes out, everyone's stoked, and then nothing happens for 2 weeks, and people start to, get upset, and right now it is a bit of a negative space, which I think is silly. Again, I don't see why people feel the need to get out on Twitter and like slag off the platform. Like, I've just had a bad experience with them, and it is frustrating and disappointing. But at the same time, I also have had, like, the experience of coming sixth was amazing. Like, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the sweat. I enjoyed watching Heung-min Son run around. I enjoyed waking up at 2 and seeing Daniel Wass on a 97. It's just that the one element of it was disappointing.
But I feel like that happens so often, though, and I feel like that shouldn't be the case. It's so, like, you're in super rare, you're in a very expensive league, a division to play in. You've done the thing that's quite hard to do. You've had a top 10 finish. I still just don't think it's okay that you can end up with a absolutely shocking, like, objectively shocking reward. That's not you being. That's not you whining and whinging about my goalkeeper plays for only a weak team or something like that. Like, objectively, that card is awful. I don't think that that's okay. Like, how often can you just keep rolling with that?
Yeah, and I think there is that. I think that is a more
jump.
Are we both quitting? Let's do it.
I'm going to jump.
Oh, do a flip.
I think that is it. It's a good point. Like, and a lot of the kind of bigger whale accounts like have come out every now and then and go like, you need to change. You need to look after those people that are feeding money into the platform and playing at the higher level. Because if you don't do that, then it all kind of collapses on itself. What was my point? Yeah, I think I don't think that it's valuable to go out and just constantly be whining about Sorare in terms of like, I personally don't have enough. But yes, there's definitely things Sorare need to work on. If they want it to be a premium product, they've got to sort this kind of stuff out. They've got to find ways to keep people engaged through more regular, opportunities to win, I suppose. Because you are right. Like, it is like the number of times you've had like 4 dark green scores and then one player gets like 50 and it's like, oh, well, now I get a tier 4 and he's worth nothing, like.
And even, I know I'm playing in Champ Europe, but like, I feel like even in a lot of divisions, to be honest,
but that's why the threshold's so important. And like, people always say, oh, Sorare's going to 0. And I'm like, great. I hope it goes to 0 because then I'm going to win all the thresholds. If unique cards are worth $8 and I can buy 100 of them and get $500 every week in thresholds, great. So as long as they keep that cash element to it, it's not going to go 0. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
But Sorare won't keep going though. They're going to shut up shop.
Yeah, you can make that argument. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's still good. I think it's a good product. It has so much potential. There's a lot of moving parts they've got to try and juggle, and I think that's tough. I think they do a somewhat good job of listening to the community. It's hard when there's so much just absolute moronic nonsense that's being spouted out there. Like, how do you take feedback when like everyone is out of 400 ideas on Twitter, one of them might actually have some logic or sense to it? So I empathize with them on that front. Definitely things have got to change. We've just talked about that. Like, you can't have someone like myself finishing in top 10 and having a disappointing experience. That should be avoided at all costs. Disappointment.
Most like business models, if I look at like a football, like a soccer NRL club, they'll look after the VIPs or the corporate members with. You've got to tailor that experience for them because at the end of the day, they're putting in the most money. Now, that's not to say that the everyday member is not as important because they're the ones that also drive the club. And I would argue that that's like a limited, rare scarcity.
You could make the point, though, that those customers are the ones who actually will put money into the platform. The whales already have their money in the platform. They're just winning, selling. They're just yielding. Are they putting more money in?
Without those big boppers, Sorare doesn't exist like it does today.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem. Yeah.
And I just want to we're normally a very positive, I feel like we're normally a pretty positive podcast.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to talk about this today because I don't know, I don't like being negative and being like, oh, poor me, all that sort of thing. I personally don't think it's good listening for anyone.
Yeah.
But you forced me to come on and
I think it's a conversation that has to be had. There's no point you coming on here every week and being like, I'm having a great time, and you're not really. We need to talk about why you're not having a good time, because I'm sure there's people out there that probably might feel the same, that are like, I feel like I've got $3,000 in the platform, and but I'm not enjoying it. I think it's an important conversation to have. How do you get enjoyment from the platform, and when do you walk away?
Mm. How cool are those celebration cards, though? Anyway,
they are very good. Good. I'm ready to DJ them back in, and I'm definitely the Heung-min Son one just got released. Wow, I'm buying that shit.
That's your Christmas present right there. How much will set me back?
I don't know. Maybe you should sell all your limiteds and buy me one.
It could be on the card.
All
right, mate. Yep. Well, before you have another Astrum attack, let's wrap it up there. Sweet?
Good stuff. Yep, I'm all right.
All right, well, we'll catch you next week. All the best. Look, I hope that you can continue on your run. You've got no Sho Sasaki now for the super rares. That will hurt.
Yeah, quite a few players out of my gallery now, including the reward I just won. It's going on winter break, so fun.
Fantastic.
But anyway, let's end it. Look, Simon, we might never see you again. It's been nice knowing you. Position is open. If anyone wants to be the new co-host of Sorare Down Under, I'll be putting out ads. If anyone wants to send in their resume, send me a video of you. Try, if you look like Simon, that helps. If you speak like Simon, that's good. If you're bad at Sorare, that also helps as well, because that's pretty crucial to the dynamic. But yeah, all the best with whatever you do in your life, Simon. And wish you well.
All right. See you later, guys.
See you guys.